Now, interesting, recently, part of the Old Testament that mystified me years ago when I heard the stories in sermons or whatnot, and then read the Old Testament in the King James Version. What is Jacob doing battling an angel? And only recently, after January 6th, during the pandemic, I realized
God has an amazing sense of humor.
when it was difficult to love my neighbor as myself, when that neighbor wanted to destroy my country and ran a lynch mob at our capital that with two people they actually wanted to lynch. How do you love those people? And I realized, shine the mirror on oneself, and I got work to do. And then I realized that's the battle with the angel. It's the angel in here.
Absolutely.
It's the angel that Abraham Lincoln was talking about in his second inaugural speech, somebody trying to summon the better angels of our nature. And I realized that might be, I don't know for a fact, Jacob's battle with the angel. And all of a sudden that makes sense to me. And it's a spiritual fight.
It's a spiritual fight.
Right. And within yourself for the best you to come out. You can't go around killing people without violating one of those commandments. And those commandments are in the Quran too. So, but this was only recently that I somehow made sense. So I realized that exposure to the Tao Te Ching early, and I wrote an article about this called My First Guru. It's in a journal called Inlandia, just got published. Inlandia Online, just published last year, recently, so you can find that he's My First Guru, my name, Inlandia, you'll find it. It's short, and therefore, since that day in high school, I realized I've looked at Western texts, poetry, and novels, not as providing answers, but a vehicle for asking questions. That's why the great authors, it's so great to reread Dickens, George Eliot, Jane Austen, Mark Twain, Steinbeck. It's great to read, to get the different gasps when you're older, to revisit. But the same thing with scripture. That must be what it means. That might be what God, not that I know anything for a fact, but it's all fodder for contemplation. And if you're open and willing to take the risk of going somewhere to a realization you haven't had before, all of a sudden the mystery of the divine. So and what is the divine interfacing? That's what art is about. The divine world, But so by the same token, mathematics is about that too. And the Egyptians came up with geometry. They were trying to figure out God.
Yes.
It's the same stuff.
There are traditions of sacred geometry in all religions, religions that have evolved to organization, philosophical and mystical organizations. There are sacred geometry traditions in all religions. And you've also talked about transcendental meditations with people. That's interesting, this question of meditation and how it popped up naturally in the question about the schism between disciplines. We have forgotten that meditation is actually a step in the 8 steps of yoga. So it's a step. It's not something that you do because you're bored. It's not something you do because you're afraid of, you don't want to grow old and you want to stay beautiful forever in this mortal body. It's a step in the 8 steps of yoga. And it's the step where the meditator becomes fixated with his mind on the object of meditation. And that object of meditation is the divine. So in the tradition of yoga, the divine, a guru is a representation of the divine. So you're going to say, of course, there have been many gurus. Some of them were absolute frauds, actually a lot of them. But it doesn't change the fact that this is tradition. And so now we are in this weird world where meditation is supposed to unlock all kinds of powers for you, from financial wealth to, all kinds of stupidities. And it's not what meditation is about. I think it's so important that poets and artists start addressing these questions. I mean, especially poets.